Well, you got some content here. The contents of this program, the remaining effluvia in the bottom of the barrel, the main event was a 3-way triple threat tag team match with the BBC against the Lucha Brothers against the Puddin' Gang. And I wrote, seriously, again, 2 weeks ago, the best TV match in the modern history of pro wrestling on television. And now the Puddin' Gang is in the main event. I didn't even know they were still there. I thought they were ones that Tony politely and quietly let slink off into the darkness when their contracts expired. He's still paying these fucking guys.
Yeah, he likes them.
So that was the main event. And the first two teams started a fake-looking fight in the middle of the ring while the BBC was still on the way through the arena. And, of course, once they got there, it immediately went to the floor. And I had to make the decision, do I waste 20 minutes of my life to watch this for shit to make fun of the plumber for? Or do I skip ahead to see what happens at the end because I'll have no shortage of material because every time the plumber shows his face, he does something for me to make fun of him for.
Yeah, copacetic.
And that one pretty much won out. I said, I'll skip ahead to see what, because they can't expect that people sat through 20 minutes of this for no reason. Nobody wants to see the Puddin' Gang to begin with on anything. Their family don't want to see them when they come home at night. They're like, oh God, you again? And the Lucha Brothers, wherever the fuck they've been, what the fuck did that have to do with the BBC? And why is this match happening? So that they can do another 20 minutes of the shit they all do. And that's what they did. And then the finish was both of the Lucha Brothers were laid out. And Moxley and Claudio gave pile drivers to and kicked the shit out of both of the Puddin' Gang. And I'd skipped ahead to about 5 minutes off the air, right? And nothing was happening. The fans were silent. And, they're just doing their shit, the BBC, acting tough. And then here comes Pocket's music. Because remember, the plumber jumped him earlier in the program. So Pockets comes out, and Wheeler Useless runs toward him in the aisleway, and he jumps up and knocks Useless out with one punch. And then Moxley meets him in the aisleway and takes over on him immediately. Because apparently Moxley ain't going to play that shit. He's not going to go down to the Superman punch delivered from the garden hose arm with the mosquito bite bicep of our little mascot Pockets. So Trent gives Claudio his finish in the ring, but the referee won't count because he's not the legal man. They have just had a match where for 20 minutes, all 6 of these fucking goofballs have been doing any goddamn thing they wanted to do at any time right in front of the referee. And there's, as you'll recall in triple threat matches, no DQ, lazy booking. But we're going to tease that the Puddin' Gang might just win this thing by the illegal gang. Okay. How would they even know? How could they keep track? So then Moxley has choked the mascot out on the floor. But meanwhile, the match is starting again in the ring. And somehow, Penthouse of the Lucha Brothers beat Trent 1, 2, 3. And the Lucha Brothers were celebrating. And then Mox and Wheeler were over there talking to each other, looking pissed. So Moxley gets back on Pockets. And they all have a bad, phony-looking 8-way all over the floor. But if you go now, and you go back and you look at this match on your DVRs, folks, Pockets gets Moxley up on the floor, up against the barricade in front of the front row, right? And he is throwing these ludicrously phony-looking punches at Moxley. And Moxley is just sitting with his back on the fucking railing. And apparently, Moxley is either legitimately pissed at something that the guy has done before, something that's gone wrong, or now he's just pissed that This guy's back on him, and his shit looks like shit. I don't know what he's mad about. But Moxley yells at Pockets, stands up, puts his hands on his hips, and walks off and leaves the whole fight. Gets over the railing and walks out into the arena with his hands on his hips while everybody else is fucking fighting. So he can't even be professional when all the other fucking amateurs that he's involved with fuck up. Did you notice that?
I didn't notice that, and it was hard to, I wasn't really into this. It was the end of the show, and I hate so many of the wrestlers in this. The one part I did notice, though, because I was like, what is he going to do? I think it was Chuck threw Moxley off the stage before a big dive onto several people on the floor. Moxley goes off the stage, lands. What do you think he does next?
Gets right back up.
No, he rolls. And then he rolls. He did. I was like, is he going to roll if he's not leaving the ring? He got thrown to the floor, and then he did a ninja roll and popped back up to catch the guy who was going to jump on him.
But yeah, that last little bit there, little Pockets is all over the top of him, and he's just sitting there, and you can see his face like, get the fuck off of me. You can almost read his lips, and then he stands up, puts his hands on his hips, walks away from the fight, climbs over the fucking rail, walks out into the arena with his hands on his hips. Everybody else is still doing their fake fighting. So he's pissed off about something. Because, not everybody has the exacting high standards of the plumber.
Who do you think's more valuable to AEW? Seriously, Orange Cassidy or Jon Moxley? Not for what we think, but just for AEW's business itself.
Which would I prefer, the gas chamber or the electric chair? Moxley, obviously. He's a name that people have heard of. His matches are not only just as bad, but even more insulting because he's supposed to be a real wrestler as opposed to a comedy gimmick. But Moxley would be more valuable just because you can put him in a main event on a pay-per-view, and for that audience, they'll buy it. But even that audience, especially after the last, what has it been, 30 weeks in a row that this fucking moron has been put on our television just because the boss thinks he's cute, they've seen through it by now.